Imagine you are a Neolithic farmer living in Central Europe 7,000 years ago. The strongest hunter in your tribe suddenly starts acting strange. He talks to the air, stays awake all night, claims to see things others cannot, and insists that a malevolent spirit lives inside his head, pounding on his skull day and night. Today, we would immediately think of a psychiatric emergency. But in an era when even the concept of germs did not exist, your tribe's shaman did something else. He took a flint knife and deliberately cut 3 holes into the hunter's skull. This completely overturns my previous image of prehistory. We tend to assume that in ancient times, under the constant pressure of survival, any burden unable to work would be mercilessly discarded. But the bones dug from the ground, together with anthropologists' observations of existing hunter-gatherer tribes, tell an entirely different story. When faced with mental abnormality, our ancestors' attitudes, methods, and underlying logic were a blend of cruelty, wisdom, compassion, and wildly creative, extreme operations, a survival experiment manual that even modern psychiatry might want to revisit. Let's go back 30,000 years first. In that era when even an infected wound could be fatal, if you went mad, would your tribe discard you like a torn bag? If you think that, you underestimate our ancestors' pragmatic spirit in the face of life and death. In a small wandering band of only 20 or 30 people, every single person, remember, every one, carried an irreplaceable resource envelope. That hunter who suddenly went mad may no longer have been able to hunt, but his mind stored the water source maps of hundreds of square miles, the growing seasons of every edible plant, and the migration routes of mammoth herds over the past decade. Without writing or GPS, his brain was a portable hard drive. Losing him meant losing the entire tribe's memory bank. More crucially, evolution has set up a very interesting trap, or perhaps a gift, their compassion instinct born from neoteny. When you see a puppy or kitten and find it cute and want to take care of it, the same evolved neural mechanism that makes you feel sympathy when a fellow human suffers is at work. When a brother you grew up with is suddenly tortured by an invisible affliction and becomes unrecognizable, your first reaction is not to calculate his labor value, but a deep-seated genetic impulse: I have to do something. Can you claim this is pure superstition? I tell you, the intelligence behind this is far greater than you imagine. In an age without sterile disinfection or anesthesia monitoring, the prehistoric surgeon wielding that flint knife must have possessed astonishing anatomical knowledge. He had to precisely cut only the outer table of the skull, avoiding the delicate, web-like dura mater and venous sinuses beneath. A slight slip of the hand would kill the patient. But the many healed skulls tell us that the success rate of these surgeries was remarkably high. This means that behind this seemingly insane sorcery lay an extremely rigorous technical tradition, passed down through countless life and death trials. They were using a primitive and heart-stopping method to relieve intracranial pressure, treat skull fractures, or brain infections, inadvertently hitting upon the true pathological mechanism. You thought it was exorcism, but it was actually humanity, driven by a fierce survival instinct, going head-to-head with the brain, their ultimate black box. Nevertheless, this is not the most astonishing aspect of how ancient societies treated the mentally ill. In some more advanced and complex ancient civilizations, the mentally ill enjoyed a privilege you might find entirely unimaginable: divine immunity. If you browse records of shamanic cultures around the world, you will find a striking commonality: many shamans, before taking office, must first suffer a serious illness and experience a bout of madness. This shamanic sickness manifests as all-night nightmares, hallucinations, extreme anxiety, and social withdrawal. From a modern perspective, it closely resembles prodromal symptoms of schizophrenia spectrum disorders or a severe manic episode. Yet within the tribe's framework of understanding, this is not an illness but rather a letter of admission from the spirits. Think about it: his strange behavior is because his soul has flown to realms invisible to ordinary mortals for training. He talks to the air because he is negotiating with the spirits of plants, ancestors, or thunder. In the world we call normal, he is a useless person, but in the spiritual world, he is the only diplomat who can cross boundaries and bring back messages. Where is the brilliance of this? It directly converts the chaotic energy that could utterly drain the tribe into a core engine that maintains the spiritual stability of the entire community. When a drought comes, everyone is anxious to the brink of collapse. At that moment, the usually eccentric shaman steps out, begins beating drums, dancing, and falls into a trance. He tells you that he has seen the spirit of clouds and rain, and the crisis will soon be resolved. Using his own madness as a vehicle, he successfully dissipates everyone's fear. Is this not functionally similar to modern psychotherapy, where the therapist creates a safe space to contain and transform the client's anxiety? Our ancestors, through their own cultural framework, built a sanctuary for those with atypical brains, a place where they could employ their unique cognitive traits and receive the highest social respect. Finally, let me ask, today we have beautiful hospitals and precise diagnostic criteria, we have invited mental illness into the temple of science, yet we seem to have confined it behind cold walls and estranged gazes. Our ancestors could see gods in the eyes of the insane, while we can only look for lesions there. Is this disenchantment of the inner world a step forward, or have we lost some ancient resilience, the ability to coexist with the chaos of the brain? What do you think?